The issue of immigration has been one of the main talking points amongst politicians and media alike over the past decade. From the DREAM Act under President Obama to President Trump's unsuccessful attempt at building a wall to stop people from crossing the border, the United States has been nothing short of a disaster when it comes to facilitating its immigration. With all the attention on the politics behind the issue, there's one perspective that isn't talked about enough: the immigrants themselves. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Frescott. Today, I sat down with Selvin Leodan Rivera Estrada, a 21-year-old who spent most of his childhood in his home country of Honduras. At just 14 years old, he came to America illegally and has since made a life for himself in Long Island, New York. To learn more about life as an immigrant in the United States today, here's my conversation with Selvin. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. We are here on a rainy day in Yaphank, New York, and I'm joined today with Selvin. Selvin, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Selvin. So we're on the Land Tech construction site here, where Selvin works. Selvin, how long have you been working with Land Tech?
I've been working for Atlantic since 2017, about 5 years now.
5 years. It's a long
Yes.
time. So before we get into more of your career and your time at Land Tech, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your life growing up as a kid. So from my understanding, you grew up in Honduras, correct?
That's correct. I grew up in Honduras. I was born in a place called Catacamas in Olancho. I was born back in 1999. Most of the time, grew up with my grandmother.
Very nice, very nice. And how was your life growing up in Honduras as a kid?
Well, my father had to immigrate. I wasn't even born yet at the time when my father immigrated. He came to the U.S. in 1999, and once I was born, he knew he had to look for something else to do so he can give me a better future. That's what I said. And 3 years later, my mom had to leave also the country, and I stayed back with my grandmother. She's the one who raised me, and well, it wasn't easy, you know. Seeing all the kids around me, having their parents with them, you know, and me and my grandmother was an old person already when she started raising me, and I was a troublesome kid, and well, I gave her a lot of trouble to say the least. Yes. So if you want, I can give you some backstory about my whole life, you know.
Yeah. So do you feel like having grown up with just your grandmother in Honduras, do you feel that kind of changed like who you are today?
Yes. Well, thank God my grandmother had already raised 6 kids, so she had a lot of experience raising kids, you know. And at the time, she was only raising me because all her kids were grown-ups already, and it was for me. Yes, I felt I gave her a lot of trouble because I used to tell her that, well, I miss my parents, you know. I want to be with them, and I know she wanted me to be with them, but also she raised me as if I was her own kid. So basically, my uncles taught me how to work. At 7, 8 years old, I was already working in the fields with my uncles, cultivating, you know, harvesting all type of goods, coffee beans, rice and beans, all type of goods that we were cultivating at 7 and 8, 9 years old. Then my father acquired some land, which he started purchasing cows, and I started dealing with all type of farm animals now: horses, cows, chickens, pigs, and all that. I sort of liked it, and I was going to school, so whenever I was coming back from school, I'll go and water the animals, give them water, you know, take them out, and whatever you need to do with them. So at the age of 10, I was helping around the house already, and it wasn't easy, but I liked it. What I wanted to do is go to college and study. I wanted to deal with animals. That's what I like to do, and that was my goal back in Honduras, to go to college and I didn't want to be an animal doctor. I wanted to be, I forget the career that I wanted to study, but it had to do with
Yeah,
animals.
veterinary, something like that.
Yes.
Something along those lines, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And it seems like you took on a lot of responsibility at such a young age, and I think that's probably really impacted you as a person today. So obviously you lived in Honduras for a little bit. When did you end up coming to the United States?
Well, at the age of 12 and 13 years old, I was hanging out with much older people than me, people who were 18 and older. So I started drinking. So I started drinking at 12 years old, alcohol, because over there, there is an age that supposedly they can sell you alcohol at 18, but they don't. They can sell the 10-year-old alcohol.
Wow,
So,
Honduras.
yes. So I started drinking at a pretty early age, and I started hanging out with much older people. Started getting involved in not so good stuff.
Yeah.
People who will sell drugs and all this type of stuff. And since I was a person who I didn't have my grandma wasn't in the she's old, so she didn't have the energy or the time to be to keep up with me and
Yeah,
all
just
this
to be on
stuff.
top of you,
Yeah,
yeah.
to be on top of me and keep up with all the stuff that I was doing. So I was out. I did work and I did help around the house and I helped her with all the things that she needed, But I was also growing up as an adult by myself at that time already. So people, I knew a lot of people. So people who will sell drugs, they wanted me to get involved into the business of selling drugs, and that I didn't do, thank God. But I was inviting people to. I said, you know what, I'm not gonna sell your stuff, but I will get you people if that's what you need. Buyers, people who will buy your, because it was pretty new to everyone. Cocaine and weed was pretty new to everyone over there, so they needed buyers. And I started getting people that I was hanging out with, getting them involved with, which is not a good thing. It's not something that I feel proud of. But my grandma started noticing all that, me coming back home with some cash, and that's when she told my parents, you know what, you got to take this kid out of here because he won't have a good future over here. So at the age of 14, my mom said I had to bring it to the United States. I didn't want to come because
Really?
I didn't. I felt that I knew it was going to be something positive for me that will positively impact my life, but I had all my friends,
Yeah.
all the people that I know over there. And for me, my parents were strangers. I never grew up with them. I
Wow.
used to talk with them once in a while, probably maybe once a month or once every 15 days. But for me, they were strangers, For me, my mom, my grandma was my mom and dad for me,
Yeah.
So I didn't know anyone at the time over here. And when my mom decided, she told me a week before I was leaving.
Wow.
Yeah, so my plan was, what, I'm not gonna leave, and I'm gonna stay here with my grandmother. But my mom kept insisting me, and my grandparents talked me out of it. Thank God I have all my grandparents alive, so I have much love and respect for them, and they are the ones who convinced me to, why you have to leave because this is not something good for you. I was still a kid at the time, 14 years old. So when I said, okay, I will leave.
After being pressured by his family to come to America, Selvin obliged and left for the United States. Led by a guide known as the Coyote, he and 9 other Honduran children embarked on a 3-week journey. They first passed through Guatemala, and after traveling via bus and taxi, he arrived in Mexico, where his group faced its first setback.
We ran through some trouble when we got to Mexico. Gang members knew that we were, I think it's cartels, knew that there was a big group of us coming through, and at the time there was a lot of kidnapping. So what they will do is they will kidnap our entire group, and they will ask the person, whoever is responsible for them over here, they will ask for a rescue money. You know, sometimes at the time I believe it was in between $5,000 to $10,000 per person. You know, so that guy who was bringing us here, he said, all right, we got, this is what we're coming, this is what's gonna happen, you know, we're gonna go in separate ways, and we're gonna meet at these points. And you three guys, it was three of us. I remember one of them was Josue, the other one was Alex and me. And he said, you guys gonna take this bus, and you guys gonna meet us at this place over here, you know.
Wow. So it's three young kids on
young
their
kids.
own on a bus.
Yes, you know, and
Wow.
we didn't have a cell phone at the time. We didn't have anything. He just told us, wait for me at this place, you know, because if they get if they kidnap the whole crew, you know, a lot of times, even though the parents or whoever was responsible for bringing the people over here will pay the money to the cartels, they still will not make it out alive, you know. So it was a huge risk. And my mom over here didn't have the money to pay that, you know. So that's what we did. I remember there was another group behind us of another 10 people. They didn't separate the group, and they were all caught up.
Oh no.
Thank God.
Wow.
They all made it alive. Some of them didn't want to continue the journey anymore, so they just went back to
Yeah,
they were
I can understand why.
scared. Yes, I understand why they did it. So after that, it was the police in Mexico. They also, I don't know how they knew, but they knew that once we got together, they knew there was a crew that was coming here, and they wanted money. They didn't want to get us. They didn't want to arrest us. What they wanted is money. So every time they will put, they call them retenes. It's where they do, it's like checkpoints. Checkpoints. So they'll stop the bus that we were coming in, and they'll ask for Mexican papers. We didn't have any identifications. I didn't even have my Honduran identification with me or anything with me. So I had nothing with me. And whenever the guy told us, whenever a police stops you, you say that you're coming from this place and you're going to this place within Mexico. Don't say that you're crossing, you know, to the United States. So that's what we'll do. But the guide will give us money so we can pay them, and they'll let us come through. So I think every time they'll stop us, we'll give them 200 pesos. I don't know how much will that be in dollars right now. You know,
That's fine.
Yeah. So that was my journey.
With the Mexican cartels and police behind him, Selvin had finally reached the border. Although he was on the last leg of his journey, there was one last obstacle that he had to overcome.
So once I got to the border, I remember once I got to the border of Mexico, a kid, the guy who was bringing us, he said, all right, this is my last point. I'm going back to Honduras. This is another guy is gonna take you guys. And I remember it was the guy who was crossing the border with us was a kid, no more than 15 years old kid.
Wow, and he was leading you guys.
He was leading us. A group of 10 people. I remember he had this, I think it was a canoe, that ones that you pump air into it. You know, he had it. It was 2 cars. We get to the river, and one of them was not inflating. That one of the canoes that we were supposed to cross on.
Yeah.
So he said, "Who knows how to swim?" He asked. And the river was pretty. The river, I remember, it wasn't that. It was a bit shallow, but it had a pretty wide range.
Yeah.
So I said, I know how to swim. I said, and a couple of other guys, he said, I know how to swim. And he said, all right, because if you guys can't swim over here, we had to go back, and we had to come another day, you know. So I said I'll try to make it. So one, they got another kids and some mothers that were coming with us on the one that did work, and we kept swimming with them along with them. Once we made it, I remember it was cold. It was very cold. We didn't have anything. The guy just said, walk this distance. Guys are gonna walk about 15 to 20 minutes, and there's gonna be an immigration patrol. You guys just sit down there, and the immigration patrol is gonna come for you guys. After 20 minutes of waiting, an immigration patrol came by, and he just asked us, how long are you guys being here for, and just wait for the other car that's gonna pick you guys up. And that was another journey.
Once he was taken in by the United States Immigration Services, Selvin was able to call his parents and was provided a free flight to where his parents had settled in Freeport, New York. However, it didn't get any easier for Selvin in his new home.
Even when I got here, that's a whole other story. That I don't know if it was depression. I felt that it was depression, what I felt for a year and a half after I came. So I didn't know anyone over here other than my parents. I didn't have any, friends, any other family members other than my uncle and my parents. So it was really hard for me not knowing anything, You'll go to I remember like 2 days after I came, I went to the deli because my mom had to work. So I was by myself at the house. My mom had to work, and I wanted to buy something. And at the deli, I heard a lot of people speaking English, and I went for food, but there was this person who approached me, and they were telling me about my bicycle. I think I didn't know anything at the time because I didn't know English. When I got outside, because I left my bicycle outside of the deli, I didn't know that you had to put a lock on it.
Yeah.
So I was there for 5 minutes. After I got out, I didn't find my bicycle anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So some of many things that kept happening after, because I was so used to the life in Honduras, I wasn't used to living in the city, because over there it was all farm and stuff. I still don't like the city. I go back to Honduras because thank God I got first I got a working permit, and then I got my residence.
Okay.
So I'm able to go back to Honduras.
So you're able to come back and forth.
Yes. I went through the whole process of immigration, which you have to if you want to be legal in this country. You have to go through courts. They give you immigration courts, and you have to fight with lawyers. So many people don't do it because they're scared that they're just gonna get deported, so they don't they don't go to courts, and that's how many of them get deportation orders. So they just move out and keep a low profile. My mom took me to court. She paid the lawyers, and thank God I was able to get my residency.
Throughout your time, were you ever scared of being deported before you got your residency?
Yes. Oh God, I told my mom, like, I wanted to go back actually to Honduras because I missed all my family and friends over there. I miss all the food and everything. So I said, Mom, if I get deported, don't worry, I'll be happy over there and I'll go to college and everything. My mom said, no, you have your future over here, and this is well, you will succeed. So my mom was pretty scared that the whole family will get deported,
Yeah.
But lawyers and all their family members talked her out of it.
Thankfully, Selvin was not deported and was able to get all of the necessary paperwork to stay in the United States with his family. With that being said, his struggles didn't stop from there. Just 3 months after coming to America, he went to Freeport High School as a 9th grader who did not know a single word in English.
I didn't know anyone. that was going to school. My mom didn't even know that high school. She just knew that I had to take uh, a bus. So she just
Goodness.
took me to where I was going to take the bus the first day, and she said, "Get on that bus, then you'll get to the high school." And that was all she told me.
Wow.
And I've never seen a high school so huge, because over there the high school was pretty small, you know,
Yeah.
compared to what I saw here in Freeport High School. So I get there and the bus just leaves us right in front of the school. So I get there's just many kids who didn't also know the school, and you just get lost, you know. And a security guard comes to me and he says, I think he said, "Where you going? What's your homeroom?" I think he said, and I didn't speak any English at the time. I didn't even. So I just kept looking at him, you know, and he said. He talked to a girl that was there to help kids, and he said, "Do you speak Spanish?" She said, "Yeah, I speak Spanish." Help him out. So this girl was able to help me and to take me to the room I was supposed to be in. And the whole first year was so hard because most of my classes were in English. I only had Spanish, you know, class, and then all my other classes were in English. So I didn't understand one bit of what I was doing and what I was supposed to do. So I think I felt into a bit of depression there, where I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to do anything anymore. I just wanted to go back to my country. And I kept telling my mom that I had at the time I had suicidal thoughts. I remember I didn't want to do any homework because I didn't understand. My mom didn't understand. She doesn't speak any English still. And my brother was too little to, he was still a kid to help me out with my homework. So my whole first year, I remember I kept trying and trying to learn English, you know, because you had to, in order to succeed, you had to learn. I saw many kids who just gave up and they said, "You know what, this is not for me. I'm never gonna learn English, or never gonna pass this grade, so I'm just gonna quit." I met after 6 months. I started meeting other kids who were in the same situation as me, and there was many of us.
Oh wow.
Yes, they were in the same situation. I started communicating with them, and they started asking, "Oh, where you from? You know, how long have you been here?" And I realized that there was at least 75 to 100 kids in the school that were in the same situation that I was, that just got to the country, didn't know anyone, didn't know the language. So I started getting along with them and started making friends. You know, we started sharing stories and helping out each other, you know, with homeworks and any type of work that we needed to do in school, you know. And I started getting used to the whole United States idea of, like, you know what, I will try to do my best because of all the work that my parents had you know, all the money that my parents had spent just to bring me here and all the work that they've done. So I think that was the best help for me, meeting all those kids that we were on the
shared
same
your
boat.
experiences,
Yes, you know, and I was able to learn English, and I passed all my grades, thank God.
Yeah, there you go. So you graduated from Freeport High School,
graduated from
and
Freeport
you were
High
able to learn English after a while. How long did it take you?
I think about to understanding and speak and being able to sustain a conversation, I think about 2 years.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I mean, you speak fluent English now, so I
Thank
mean,
you.
yeah. I know a lot of people, you know, whose English is second language. It's difficult, and they still, you know, don't understand. But you sound like someone who's a first, you know, that was their first language. So
Thank
I
you.
mean, so after you got out of high school, did you want to go to college? I know you talked about
Yes.
earlier like what you wanted to do, but so
That was my goal. I said to my mom, I want to go to college. At least I wanted to do the 60 credits that you need in order to go to a police academy.
Okay.
You know, because I said, "Mom, I want to be a police officer." and my mom couldn't afford me to send me to college. I had good grades. I remember in school I was in honor society, the 12th grade, so I had pretty good grades. And I said, before I finished high school, I started working at Landtech. I was able to save some money and buy my car. And I said, Mom, I'll work for a year after I get out of high school. I'll save money, and I will go to college with that money, and then I'll just keep working a part-time. And years went by, and after that I got more responsibilities, with my family. I got more responsibilities with me. So now I feel that going to college for me and having a part-time, I won't be able to pay all the bills that I need to. Right. And college is expensive. Yeah. So if you don't have someone supporting you, at least economically, it's pretty hard. Yeah. So I did wanted to go to college, but I couldn't after high school. As many kids that I know that I graduated with, it's a few of them that went to college after. Most of us just kept working.
While Selvin doesn't plan to go to college, he still has big plans for his future.
You work at Landtech now. Do you enjoy your job here at Landtech?
I'm sorry?
Do you enjoy your job at Landtech?
Oh, I
right
like it.
Yeah.
I really like it because, I know everyone now, and we keep moving around, so it's not a boring job. I enjoy working here, with, you have pretty good benefits over here too. But I would like to do something else, yes.
Yeah, so the end goal is ultimately you'd like to become an electrician?
Yes, either an electrician or a plumber.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
you're a young man. I feel that, and anything is possible for you.
Yeah.
So, I have a few more questions left, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
So,
no problem.
as I'm sure you know, there's a lot of stigma and stereotypes about illegal immigrants and stuff. Do you feel like that's warranted and justified for all the things that people may say or feel about people come over here legally?
Well, as I said, many people they don't want to leave their countries. They don't want to leave their families. Most of the people don't want to leave their friends, but they feel obligated to do so. More the people who have kids and have responsibilities, adults who have all these responsibilities, who don't know how they're gonna pay their bills or how they're gonna feed their kids, So they feel obligated to travel outside of the country to seek better opportunities, because over here, even a kid can have a stable job. 15 years old, you can have a part-time, and you're gonna get paid weekly, even though you don't have all the responsibilities, but you have the job. Over there, it's hard to even get a job at a gas station or whatever, So many of them cultivating goods now and farming, it's become hard because it doesn't give enough money to even pay your workers or whatever, So most of the people feel that they have to come over here. They don't want to leave their families, but if they want to give their kids a better future, they have to travel outside of Honduras. So I know many of them who would just love to go back there. And if we had a stable economy back in the country, I know most of the people will not leave their country. Will not leave their family. But you need to. You're obligated to do so. Yes.
That makes sense. So, for my last thing here, I want you to finish this sentence. Selvin is blank.
Oh, man. Selvin. Selvin is still just a kid. Yeah,
I like
Selvin is
that.
still just a kid who's learning about life every single day, and experiencing so many things at the time who a lot of times don't know what to do with it. But I'm still just a kid learning.
That was well said. That was well said. Is there anything that I missed about your experiences, or anything else that you'd like to share before we conclude this today?
Well, if you had the chance to visit our country, it's a beautiful country. You know, your dad. I don't know if you've been there. I know your
To
dad
Honduras?
went there.
No,
Yeah,
I
to
don't
Honduras.
think so.
It's a beautiful place, and I know there's many stereotypes about us. And yes, it is dangerous. I'm not saying it's not. Gang members and cartels and everything are well integrated into the society, but it's still a beautiful country, and if you have the time to visit or anything, I'll advise you to go. It's a very pretty, beautiful place, and the people are there as the nicest people I know.
Wow. All right. Great. I'll definitely keep that in mind. All right, Selvin. That's going to do it today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's going to conclude it. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.